It's an incredible day for me. 21 years ago, when I was walking the street, I didn't think anybody cared. Today, the efforts of the city and county, all the community partners, the neighborhoods, all of the wonderful people who give so much with so little resource that they have here in the city of Portland, has made this a very happy day for a lot of women who have suffered in silence for a very long time.
Slavery is alive and well in Oregon today, right now. If anyone doubts the seriousness of this issue, the depth of the crisis, or somehow considers prostitution and human trafficking to be a victimless crime, they need only spend a few hours in the lives of some of the criminals that we have convicted and charged in the U.S. Attorney's Office and in Oregon, in federal court in Oregon.
Our community's girls and women have been victimized too long. And I think as the Dan Rather piece points out, as our U.S. Attorney points out, these are not necessarily girls coming in from Europe or Asia. I think a more typical scenario is a young girl fleeing an abusive home, whether she's either experiencing or witnessing violence or child abuse, and she flees. And we know, as you'll probably hear from subsequent testimony, that we know generally those types of girls within 24 to 48 hours are in the arms of a pimp. And that pimp is prostituting them here in Portland.
This is a disgrace. This is not acceptable. And for far too long, we in liberal Portland have pretended that this is a choice that people make. And it's not a choice. And especially when it's not a choice for somebody under 18, by definition, it's statutory rape. We
stand at a crossroads in Portland. We're at a crossroads in the sense that we seem to attract, through our geography and our location on I-5, we seem to serve as a magnet for human trafficking. But we also stand at a crossroads in a public policy sense. Are we ready to do what it takes to put an end to this modern slavery? Law enforcement is unfortunately not the answer. We come in really at the end of the story when the tragedy has already happened. And yes, we can achieve some deterrence through these powerful sentences, but it's really, we're really there only at the end of the story. The public policy need is to stop the demand, to reach this problem at its beginning, not its end, and to support the people who have been victimized by these awful criminals.
We view the young girls and the women involved in prostitution as victims. So our goal is to prosecute, arrest, and hopefully at the end convict the pimp that's forcing these girls to go out and work for them. The youngest girl I've had on my caseload is 12, so these are children. It's disgusting that these young girls are out there being forced to do this. So one of our biggest struggle, though, is these girls are chronic runaways. So not having a placement for these girls makes it kind of hard for us to do these cases, really hard, actually, because that girl is our evidence. And without her, our cases kind of go sideways. So it's a struggle, but it's at the end, if we convict a pimp and get a girl off the streets, the struggle is definitely worth it.
The Portland Police Bureau reports 5 cases of human trafficking every week. This is not something that happens once in a while. And we're second in the country for youth victims. What a shame. What an absolute shame. And I truly appreciate your willingness to bring this to everybody's attention and to highlight for everybody, to educate, because that's what we have to do. We have to educate about the demand and the fact that prostitution is not a victimless crime. It's horrible.
I've been a police officer for 11 and a half years, and I had no idea that this problem was as huge as it is. And like I said, I've been in law enforcement for 11 and a half years. So I'm really glad that this awareness is taking place and that we're holding this meeting and that we're continuing with getting education and awareness out there, because we have to do something. In the last week alone, we have had 3 victims that have been trafficked from Seattle all the way down to Las Vegas. So we are slammed with our workload. It is incredible how many new cases we have every week of juveniles, young girls being prostituted.
We have far too many children in our community who are being put into slavery, as the as the U.S. Attorney said. I think sometimes the term human trafficking sounds like something that happens elsewhere. And I think it's slavery and it's torture and it's child abuse. And we need to recognize and halt it. And we need to, as was said, address the demand and that it is not acceptable to rape children in Portland, Oregon.
From our colleagues at the local and federal government levels to those who have experienced this tragedy firsthand, to the law enforcement officials who see it every day, and finally those helping to build community activism and increase outreach, I want to say thank you to all of you. And again, I just cannot, this is overwhelming to me this morning, really. I can't say thank you enough to all of you for all the work that you do. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
As we go forward in working on this issue from the many different angles we have to work on it, we need to make sure that we don't get caught up in the competitiveness of funding, that we see each other with the gifts that we have, that we appoint to each other, the appointments that we operate from our strengths, whether it be organizing or counseling or housing or therapy or crime prevention, whatever it takes, that we stand strong in the strengths that we have and that we blend them together so that we can make a better community for all of us. Thank you.
The Multnomah County Board of Commissioners proclaims July 2010 Human Trafficking Awareness Month in Multnomah County and encourages the citizens of our county to attend one or all of the events intended to increase awareness and understanding of this danger.
Thank you. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The proclamation is adopted.